Good afternoon, students. It's Dr. Stovall, and I just wanted to give you a quick overview for week number 9. So during week 9, you will have the opportunity, for those of you who missed the midterm, you will have an opportunity to take a makeup midterm, and it will be due by 11:59 Tuesday evening. Now, for those of you who actually took the midterm, but you did not score at least 70 points, don't worry. You will have an opportunity to revise that essay for a higher grade during week 14. So kind of hold tight and know that you're going to have an opportunity to increase your grade. You might want to come to office hours so we can talk about the midterm and talk about the issues and things that you can do to increase that grade. All right, so let's look at the bottom. I just want to let you know, no fish were killed in this photo. I have a catch and release pond in my backyard, and so periodically I go outside and fish a little and throw the fish back in there. All right, so for this week, you have a reading response that is going to be due on March 12th. In addition to that, you have essay number 3 that's going to be due on March 12th. Also, we have a correct identification of the main point discussion, and you have a peer review, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is going to be due by 11:59 on Thursday evening, which means you can start on part 1 today. Also, part 2 is not going to be accessible until 12 a.m. on March 10th. So please make sure on Friday you go in and you complete the revision or the peer review of the 2 drafts that are assigned to you. And also, you should be working on your research paper. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so for those of you who did not complete the midterm, you're going to see midterm makeup exam in your module. For those of you who completed it, you will not see this portion here. If you have questions about this, come and see me during office hours on Monday morning. All right, the reading selections for this week. One of my favorite articles, Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. It is not an article that you can read and skim it. It is very dense. It is going to require you to read it slowly, and you must annotate it. There's no way to understand it unless you annotate. If you have questions, come and see me during office hours. All right, and for the second reading, you should recognize this, Preparing Minds for Markets by Jonathan Kozol. So for those of you who read it closely, technically you only have 1 article that you have to read this week because you've already read this one for the midterm. But at any rate, I want you to take your time for those who did not annotate it and annotate it properly. All right, great. Let's move on. All right, the next thing I have would be the identification of the main point. And for this week, I'm asking you to identify Freire's main point for Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Please, if you're having trouble with the article, come and see me during office hours. I really want to help you. Also, note this. At the bottom of this assignment, I have an example of what your answer or your submission should look like. Make sure you're following the format that I have listed here. That first sentence is going to identify the author, the title, and the main point. That second sentence is going to have a direct quotation with commentary and a parenthetical citation at the end. All right, if you have questions about that, I can help you during office hours. All right, you have a reading response that's going to be due on Sunday the 12th, and that's going to be for Freire and for Kozol, and those articles are available to you in this particular assignment. And I think at this point everyone kind of knows the routine for that. I also provided for you a copy of the prompt for essay number 3. I'm pretty sure you've already looked at it, but I've provided another copy for you to look at. Okay, it tells you that the peer review is going to be Thursday and Friday. Now, before I go over the peer review, if you're looking at the due date, it says March 10th. Please know that that's for part 2. Part 1 is due on March 9th. If you do not complete part 1, you will not be able to participate in part 2. So that means you will have 0 points out of 80. So part 1 is worth 30 points. Part 2 is worth 50 points. So when you click on it, you'll see that it says there are 4 paragraphs that you're writing, an intro paragraph and 3 body paragraphs. Okay, part 1 is due by 11:59, March 9th, and part 2 is due by 11:59, Friday evening, March the 10th. So what is it that you are doing? You are actually posting your intro paragraph and 3 of your body paragraphs. And the information for that is here. That means I would like to have an intro paragraph that has 8 sentences and then 3 body paragraphs with 8 to 9 sentences. Now, when you post those 4 paragraphs before Thursday, that means you can actually post those 4 paragraphs today. Okay? Now remember, if you post, that's it. You can't go in and post again. So make sure that when you post, that is what you want to post. If you post more than one time, remember the rules, the class policy, I only read that first post. So do not post multiple times. Okay? It's not fair. All right. So once you post part 1, then at 12 a.m. Friday morning, so that's going to be Friday morning, 11:59 Thursday, then boom, 12 a.m. Friday morning, you will be assigned 2 peer reviews. And as you're reading those peer reviews, you are going to answer the questions listed here for part 2. Okay? I recommend that you just cut and paste this information into a Word document and then write complete sentences for each of the items. Okay? So remember, you're going to cut and paste this information here into Microsoft Word, and then you're going to type your answer underneath it. Okay? If you have questions, what do you need to do? Come see Dr. Stovall. Okay? And I can go over that information with you. You want to make sure that once you do this, you're going to post your answers in the comment section of the peer that you are revising. Okay? So I'll say this again. Where do I post this, Dr. Stovall? Part 2, you're going to post in the comments or the reply of the peer's draft that you are revising. And you'll see that when you go back into Canvas and it shows you who you are reviewing. It'll give you the name of the 2 students. You click on their draft and then you're going to answer these questions in their draft. Okay? And then you're going to cut and paste this information into their comment or reply box for their draft. Okay? If you have more questions, come and see me. I'll be happy to help you with that. All right. Let's move back to week 9. And before Sunday, 11:59 p.m., you're going to upload your final draft of essay number 3. Okay? All right. And so I just gave you a copy of the prompt. It's right here. Okay? And the last thing for week 9. Thank you for being a great student. Thank you for following directions. Thank you for completing the assignments for this week. If you need any help with anything, come and see me during office hours. Have a great weekend.